Okay, this is the course syllabus for CSS 331 Files and Database Systems for the fall 2019 term. My name is Luke May. I'm going to be your instructor. My email is luke.may@indstate.edu. This is a primary point of contact. If you have any questions about anything at all, don't hesitate to send me an email and I will do my best to address them. Okay. I have a physical office in Root Hall, even though this course is online. If you're on campus, you can go to Root Hall. My office is A138D. So if you enter the west doors of Root Hall, immediately take a left at the very, very first hallway. And there's a hallway of offices in there, and my office is in there. All right. So everything in this course is going to be run through the course website, and that is located here. All right. So bookmark this page and check it regularly. It has the schedule for everything, it has all of your assignments, and it has all the lecture materials. Okay, so this is a very important website. You need to check it daily. We will be logging into the CS server and executing Linux commands on the CS server, and everyone is going to have an account on the CS server. Okay, I have a couple different accounts, and this is the location to my accounts. So this is not too important starting out, but you may need to reference this later in the year. Okay, so LMay1 is my long-term account, and I use that for the course websites, things like that. And then I have a CSS 331 account that I will be using for some teaching materials and things like that. All right, this is an online course, so there's no physical meeting. The final exam schedule doesn't apply because there's no physical meetings. So the final exam is more than likely going to be a final project. Okay. I do have on-campus office hours. I am here most of the day on Wednesday. I have a class from 9 until 10, and then 10 to noon. I'm available for office hours, and then I'll have a lunch break, and then 1:45 to 3:45 I'm available for office hours, and then I have another class after that. Okay. If those office hours don't work for you, let me know. We have a lot of communication mediums. We have email. We have a chat program we're going to be using. And if you want to meet physically and these times don't work for you, just contact me and we'll sort out some other time to meet. Okay, there are computer resources available for you if you have any issues, or if you just want a nice conducive environment to do your homework. The CS Unix lab is in Root Hall in the basement. That's in A015. In the Unix lab, there are lots of other CS students doing work, and there's always a graduate assistant on duty, and they can help you, they can help tutor you. All right, so this link has a list of the schedules of the graduate assistants that will be in the Unix lab, and you can look through here, and if you find one that you really connect with, you can look at their schedule here, or you can just match up your schedule to when the greatest number of graduate assistants are in there. Like here, right here, there's 4. There's different parts of the day that we have considered to be high traffic, and also it has to match up with the graduate student schedule. But usually in the afternoons, we try to have more people on duty, all right, to help you with anything you might, any questions you might have. Okay, so they're there to help you. Take advantage of it. It's very useful, and you can connect with other people and start engaging with other computer science people and having computer science conversations, and it's a good way to start interacting. All right, prerequisites for this course. Prerequisites. There are none. We are going to be learning a little bit about Python, so this book is required, but this is just an ebook, so it has no cost. This goes through the basics of Python. This is a 300 level course, but there are no prereqs, so we are going to have to go through a lot of material. It's 300 levels, so you should be able to handle it. A lot of this you're going to have to do on your own, but since there's no prereqs, there's a considerable foundation that we need to make sure everyone is aware of before we get into more of the complex softwares and databases and things like that. Okay, so this course will be moving fast, and there will be a lot of reading and article reading, book reading, things like that you'll have to do on your own, so we can develop a good foundation to build the rest of the coursework on. Okay, so this is Python. Here are a couple of other links to Python if you don't like the way this book is laid out, or if you're already familiar with Python, learn X and Y minutes is nice. It's just a brief summary of the syntax of Python. So if you've already learned Python but you're a little bit rusty, I recommend learn X and Y minutes. Okay. Course announcements, everything is going to go through the course website. If I have any announcements, they're either going to be via email or the Mattermost chat program. Classroom conduct doesn't really apply except for our digital interactions. Okay, so just be respectful and be professional, and we shouldn't have any problems. We will be using Mattermost Chat, which is a collaboration tool that's often used in many professional environments. It's very similar to something like Slack, if you've heard of that, but it's just a way for people to communicate and collaborate remotely. All right, so you can transmit messages just like any other chat program, but you can also transmit files and ideas and coding examples, things like that. So it's a very useful tool, and it's something you're probably going to encounter at some point in your career anyway. So it's good to get exposure to how something like this works. But again, be courteous and professional. Okay, you can be kicked out of the Mattermost chat, and some assignments are assigned from Mattermost chat. Okay, so if you are kicked off of Mattermost chat, you more than likely just won't get any of those points. And then depending on the severity, you might just get an F in the course. Okay, so it shouldn't be a problem. Just be courteous and professional. Treat it like you would a real job. Okay, so shouldn't be too big of a deal. Here's the basic course information. Course catalog description introduces the basics of database concepts. It stresses the implementation of databases in the real world. Students learn about basic database design and terminology and how to create a variety of databases using MS Access. Okay, so there are no prereqs for this course, so it is going to be somewhat lighter than it might otherwise be if there were previous required courses that you might have taken, programming courses or anything like that, but we will try to get through as much material as we can. All right, so here's the course kind of outline. What is data and information, types of data, how computers store data, understanding operating systems. So we're going to be doing a lot with the Linux command line, introduction to files and directories, binary number systems representing different types of data in binary, basic computer architecture and components, electrical circuits, Boolean logic and Boolean algebra, basic circuits, half adder, full adder, 64-bit CPU, physical characteristics and architecture of digital data storage devices, file systems, formatting in a particular storage medium, specific file system implementations. ext4 is common in Linux. FAT32 is a Windows style file system that's primarily used these days on USB sticks, and then NTFS is the file system that Windows uses. Virtual machines, we're going to learn how to install a virtual machine, which allows you to basically run an operating system inside of another operating system. And then we're going to talk about files and using files as a way to store data as opposed to a database. This was one of the initial ways of storing data, right? And then there's some limitations that occur when you start using files as a way to store data for your applications. What are those limitations, and then why do we even have this concept of databases if we can store things in files, right? So that all comes from these limitations, and then we'll discuss the different types of databases, or some of them anyway, a relational database, and then non-relational databases. And then we'll go into some implementations of a few different databases if we have the time. So this is a whole lot of material, and it's going to move fast. So you are going to have to put in a lot of work on this course. To get to the point where we can actually talk meaningfully about databases, you do need a fairly extensive background in computers. Okay, so with no prereqs, I'm assuming you guys will know quite a bit about computers, but I don't know how much, because there's no prereqs. So we're going to have to move fast on this early stuff. All right, so expected amount of work, it's a 300 level course, 6 to 12 hours is reasonable. It would be less if you're really familiar with and good with computers, and it will be more if you're not. So make sure you're spending around this amount of time. It could be less for some people and it could be more for some people. All right, but this is a pretty good estimation. Your classes should be more important than your part-time job too. All right. Grading and assignments. We have homeworks, labs, and quizzes. Homeworks are going to be multiple choice questions. Labs are going to be anything where we interact with the computer in a meaningful way. Okay, so it might be programming assignments or creating a database or anything like that where we're creating something on the computer. And then we might have some quizzes. So all of those are weighted equally, and homework is worth the same amount as a lab, is worth the same amount as a quiz. Okay, and all of those will be averaged, and that'll account for 40% of your grade. All right, you do get one dropped assignment in this category. All right, that's mainly for emergencies. Something happens, life happens, emergencies happen, you have one dropped grade. Okay, ideally you wouldn't use this dropped grade, and you'd complete all of the assignments, and then just your worst one gets dropped. Okay, so that's how I recommend you use this. The early assignments are going to be much easier than the later assignments, so I would not recommend you use this dropped grade early. All right, but stuff happens, right? So don't waste this dropped assignment. Use it when you need it. Okay. Then the exam section. So that was 40% of your grade. The exam section is 30% of your grade. Okay. Exams, we usually have 2, maybe 3. They're weighted equally and will be averaged to calculate the exam portion of your grade. So if we had 2 exams, each exam would be worth 15% of your grade. Generally speaking, the exams are split 50-50, multiple choice questions, and a lab assignment. Okay, so what that means is about 7.5% of your grade is going to be the multiple choice portion of a given exam. 7.5% is going to be the lab portion of the exam, if there's 2 exams. All right. So that's 40% and 30%. We're at 70. Attendance of participation. This is an online course, so attendance doesn't really apply. So we will have a few small questions. These are usually done on Mattermost chat. To make sure everybody's keeping up with the material. So I'll assign a little tiny something on Mattermost chat, and it's making sure that you're keeping up with the chat program and checking things regularly. And if you respond to the questions in the appropriate amount of time, you're considered to be participating. So these are basically free points. They're not very difficult questions. They should be pretty easy. The idea is just to make sure that you're keeping up with the attendance. And I like to start everyone out with some points so that they feel encouraged to work hard in this course. All right, I like everyone to start off from a good place, a good grade, and try to keep that grade. All right. The final exam is 15% of your grade. So this is more than likely going to be some sort of project. We're going to be working with databases. So the final project will be assigned before or at the very beginning of study week, and I like to do that so you have over a week to work on it. It should not take you a week, all right? But I want to make sure you have plenty of time. You have other finals and different things you're working on, which are very important. So I like to give you the possibility for this final to do it at your leisure, to fit it into your schedule whenever you can. All right, so that's why I like to do that. It will be due at 11:59 p.m. the Wednesday of finals week. All right. Course policies on cheating. This is really important. All of the following here are technically considered cheating by the department. All right. Electronic copying of any kind from another student, from the internet, friend, relative. All right. I like to allow students to use the internet. This is an online course, so it's very difficult to prevent you from using the internet. I think that's fine anyway, because in the real world you have the internet at your disposal, and if you don't know how to do something, you need to be able to use the tools on the internet to learn what you don't know. All right, so I think it's a very important skill to learn. So I usually allow you to use the internet on tests, on assignments, anything you want. It is critical then that this line item is how I assess cheating primarily. Okay, if you cannot reproduce or explain the solution that you turned in, then it's not your solution. If you copied something online or copied something from a friend, you must be able to reproduce it. If I gave you a blank text file and told you to code up the solution, you should be able to do that, or at least explain what's happening in the code. All right? It's not worth it. The penalties are severe. If you're caught cheating, you will get an F in the course, or an F on that assignment, and if you get caught twice, you will get an F in the course. For graduate students, it's worse. The first time you're caught cheating, you fail the course, and you may even be kicked out of the university. All right, and the second time you'll definitely be kicked out. All right, so it's really just not worth it. And if you're having any issues, just contact me. I'm happy to help with anything as long as you contact me as soon as you can, as soon as you're struggling with this stuff. Do not wait till the end of the semester. Everything gets very hectic at the end of the semester, and there's a ton of stuff to do, and it's really hard to get an entire semester's worth of material learned at the two last weeks of the semester. Okay, so don't wait till the very end. All right, late work. I do not accept late work because primarily we use the homeworks as a learning tool. So whenever you turn something in, we'll spend some time going over what it was and what we can learn from it. All right. So once I've given the answers out, it's hard to do. It's hard to let you turn in the late work. All right. So I do like to give you plenty of time to work on the assignments, though. So start early. This is very important. If you get into a homework assignment, at least look at it and try some of the problems so you have an idea of how much you know, how much you're able to do of the assignment. If you don't even look at it until the day it's due, you're going to have a lot of trouble. And I might not be available to help you that day, right? So make sure you start early so you have plenty of time to contact me if you are struggling or if you need any help with it. Okay, it's very, very important. And coding wise, sometimes you can get burnt out if you just code for like 6, 8, 10 hours straight. So we like to recommend, rather than doing an all-day session like that on some of the assignments, and try to spread it out into 3-hour chunks or something like that over the course of days. Sometimes you need to just think about a problem and sleep on it, right? So spread that out a little bit, but it is important that you get big chunks of time to work on it. Working on it for like 15 minutes at a time is probably not going to be too helpful. A lot of times these projects are big and they're going to require a lot of thought. So at least 1 to 2 hour chunks are recommended, and sometimes 3. But try not to go over that. You can, but you can get burnt out and your brain can get a little fried. All right, so we like to say spread it out into 3-hour chunks and over a few days if you need to. All right. Grade cutoffs. This is pretty standard stuff. It's pretty hard to get an F. Normally the only way you can get an F is if you stop turning in assignments. If you have tried all the assignments, some people just struggle and don't understand the material, but you have your participation points and you've turned in things. It's really, really hard to get an F. Like I said, it's pretty much just people who stop trying. All right. Blackboard, link is here. We won't be doing anything with Blackboard. The syllabus is on Blackboard, and your grades will go on Blackboard, and that's the extent of our Blackboard use. Academic integrity, these are course policies again. If you have any questions about what is considered cheating, just ask me. I mean, that's the easiest way to get the answer there. So it's not worth the risk. So you can ask me if that's okay, whatever it is, and then you'll know. If anybody has any special needs or disabilities, please let me know as soon as possible so I can contact the appropriate people and accommodate you, whatever your needs may be. That's really important. Let me know as soon as possible if anybody needs anything like that. All right, and then disclosures regarding sexual misconduct. Hopefully this won't apply to anybody, but it is important everyone understands that I am legally required by law to report anything I hear with respect to sexual misconduct. If it's a joke or otherwise, shouldn't be joking about it, but doesn't matter what it is, I'm required by law to report it to the Title IX coordinator, okay? So if you are having any issues like this, you can talk to me, but it's really important that you know that I am legally required to report this. All right. If you would like to talk to some sort of counselor who is not legally required to report anything, and you just need help getting through something, here are some links of some important counseling sessions or organizations that can help you through some of this stuff. So the ISU Student Counseling Center, the ISU Victim Advocate, and Campus Ministries are some good organizations to help you through some of this stuff. Hopefully this won't be an issue for anybody, but I want you to know that if this is an issue, I'm here for you to talk to. I am legally required to report anything I hear, but I'm here, and then these organizations can help you through some of this stuff as well. So hopefully there's plenty of resources, and hopefully none of this is even needed. Okay, so that should do it for the course syllabus.